Good day, everyone. I am your host, Devane Apollonio. Today, my guests are Dwayne Saldano
Good
and
morning.
Dr. Oscar Mumbai. So, we're here today to talk about economic inequality and poverty. So, Mr. Dwayne, can you introduce yourself?
Yes, good morning. My name is Dwayne Saldano. Um, I'm an entrepreneur at a Mema Love Foundation.
Dr. Oscar?
Thank you, Devani. My name is Dr. Oscar Mbali, Director of Friends United Meeting in Belize. Thank you.
All right, so just to give a more intro version of what exactly we're here to do, we're going to talk about the youth violence and gang activity. There are significant concerns in Southside Police City, discussing the root causes, poverty, and the lack of opportunities, and the social support and exploring solutions like community programs, education, and mentorship, which can help address these issues. So, my first question is for you, Mr. Sandano. What is economic inequality and how does it affect people's lives?
Well, economic inequality is basically the unequal distribution of income. For example, me and Devani, they in the same workplace, or we'll push out the same amount of work, and Devani will get more pay than me. You know, the CSA things. A nutshell, that economic inequality. Economic inequality is meaning that some people have it better than some people.
Yeah, just to add on that, it also includes the um, ability to earn enough and whether you can even save. So, for example, there are people who are working
Mm-hmm.
and they are earning, but they are not earning enough
Mm-hmm.
even for to meet basic needs.
Mm.
And then do they even get more beyond the basic needs to save? Because if you're earning enough, then you can save, and if you are saving, in the long run you have more than those who earn and can't save anything. So that also affects um, equality or economic inequality.
All right. So, my second question is for you, Dr. Oscar. Why is it important for young people to understand poverty and its challenges?
um, because poverty is not just a condition,
Mm-hmm.
it is also a way of life. It has rules. um, for example, if you've never been poor before and someone dropped you into a community where people are really really disadvantaged and vulnerable, you might find very difficult to survive there even for a day, because you don't know the rules.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know how life works there. So poverty is a way of life as well. As people live in poverty over a long period of time, they develop rules on how to survive, how to cope, what to do, and then when you get used to that, um, and that is all you know, that's the life you live.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to move from a life of poverty to a life of middle class or to a life of the wealthy, you have to transition. But you cannot get to the middle class if you don't know the rules of the middle class, and you cannot get into the wealthy class if you don't know the rules of the wealthy class. It's a different lifestyle, it's a different rules. So it's important for young people to know it's not just a condition, it's also a way of life. What are some of the things that I have learned, that I've been introduced to, that I'm used to, which act as a barrier for me to get out of poverty? Because it can become a trap as well. So when you begin to recognize, oh, I grew up in a family where people never talked about money, where people never talked about savings because there was no money to talk about. Now I need to learn money. I need to learn about savings. I grew up in a family where people never talked about opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
I need to recognize that as a problem, and then begin to learn um, different rules. If you look at people who are born mostly from vulnerable backgrounds, sometimes they see power as something not good. Um, but people who are born in the middle class or are born in the rich class see power as something good. And you see, you cannot move from a poor life to a middle class life if you don't know how to relate to power, because the people up there have power, and they are so you have a lot of things to learn. But it's first of all recognizing it's not just a condition, it's a way of life. What are some of the things do I need to abandon, and what are some of the things do I need to learn? Because you're moving from one condition to another, you're moving from a community that is dominated by poverty, and you're moving into the community that is dominated by wealth and power and money. You need to learn those rules, see how people survive there, what do they do, what language do they speak, and how do they see things. And then you begin to learn that.
I like that. This is where we could put social support. You know, if your family wants you to elevate and not live like this anymore, they would encourage you to, like, go out there, go to that program, apply, meet new other young people who would share and such more. So I want us to talk about the lack of support, the lack of opportunities as well. Because, like you mentioned, if we come from the low class, we had almost nothing. There's nothing to talk about. And that's where people from, if they're generous from the wealth level, they would consider, okay, I have this friend that's a low class. What should I, what should I do? Do I just keep them as a friend and not help them? Or knowing that as a wealthy person, I have the opportunity to share, I am very considerate. Be like, oh, I would want my friend to better him or herself, And so that's where social support is something that we should make important and let young people know that, if your family is coaching you to, we don't want you to continue living in this area because we want you to get an education. We want you to get that opportunity to go abroad and continue schooling, especially if you're that child who really likes to learn or explore. That's how the social support would come in. And if your community is trying to develop on their own, knowing that people like the area reps won't help, they try to outreach people abroad and be like, my community is in this tragic phase, and we have no help, no water, no nothing. That's where they start to support each other, become one voice, be like, this is a major issue and we can't continue living like this, and we want a change for the better. We want a change for the other generation to know, hey, I have this daughter and I feel like she's going to be the best child in the future, to become a doctor, to become a teacher, and I don't want her to be telling her life story, even though it's not a bad thing to say where you come from, but your parents want to be like, I lived like this for only 2 years and boom, I changed my life around, and now my kids have a better roof over their heads, knowing who this is and where to go and how to help others. Because as a low life person, you would want to, okay, this helped me, and I know somebody who way worse than me, maybe we could help them twice as more, and you benefit from that, and that's how you build that chain of support. So if we don't have that chain of support, then what are we building? We're building a wall of being stereotyped, being, okay, we have a child, you only got one Pampers in at the pack left, where we are getting the next one from? That's the wall that we're building to say we're continuing to struggle, and we know what to talk to a neighbor and be like, girl, I see this thing on news and I feel like, this could really help my community. If you shoot or text somebody, I really tell them what our situation, we could get help. But people avoid getting help because they feel like, oh, just to try to be desperate. But because how Belizeans behave, they have the ones like the wealthy people who would use their power and act like the desperate ones and come in and take the opportunity. So when the people who are actually low in life and actually need the help, there's no more help to give, because other people who already have the help, they help.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And,
the lack of opportunities, like, there's not a, like, it's evolving, like it's getting to be more, but then there's not a lot of activities for young people to do here
opportunities.
in Southside.
Yeah.
Like, now you could see, okay, there's a football team, there's coaches, there's a new painted park, there's a better basketball court, like everything is getting better. But before, who was the person who went to talk? Who was the person who said, "Oh my goodness, yeah, but I really in a situation where every time it rain, the football field is sink," or
Mhm.
who was the person, right? Give them that high five, because okay, not all of we had the courage to go and talk to the person in our wealth and be like, "Hey, this what you have look like," and
Mhm.
every time this certain situation happen or this kind of problem. This are the concern, and we would really like for change that. Get your plan, get your people who
Mhm.
really want change. Because if you don't want to change it, then you're building this wall of being stereotypical. And that's where we are today. Because back in the
Mhm.
late times of what I may ever think for born, this sort of wall where people here in Southside, as the adults, as the leaders, here
Mhm.
as the so-called low class, build. And me as a young person who will want to change my community or continue to help changing, this is where I come to sit, we come to talk, and bring the
Some issues.
problems that might look minor, but they're very major.
Definitely.
And as a young person, I am very observant, and there's a lot of leading males and females in my community, so I know who to talk to, and they know who to talk to, and share the same idea and share the contact, because they want to continue to change. You could see it, because whosoever made the change back then, they got inspired and want to continue to change the cycle, and that's what I like.
Mhm.
So my next question: what are some ways communities can help young people who are struggling with poverty?
Say you have a youth group.
Mhm.
You have a youth group. I want to know somebody where they live in a poverty in the community. You and your best peers could always come together, brainstorm, and find out ways as to how we could help the persons that will live in a poverty. Like, you could say, you could take your eye and say that, hey, man, it look like only one uniform that student they got. So you identify that, man, my neighbor only have one uniform, and school are 5 days. So what way to help your neighbor out of poverty is that, like, you might know what seamstress or what tailor, but they right in your community we might have some excess cloth from our previous uniform or uniforms
Yeah.
before, where you could go and you could say, watch out, every day I dey in my yard, or I might dey do my homework, and I see my neighbor cross, so I have to wash your uniform, wash your son one uniform or daughter one uniform. Yeah, I don't want to know if you, as a member of the community, have any spare cloth where you could sew a uniform for that person, so in order to help that person out of poverty. You could always come together as a community and approach the businesses then where they in the community. Collaborate with the businesses in order to meet the needs of people, because only if you could meet the needs of the person, yeah, alleviate the out of poverty
Yeah. Oh.
and make it become equal, right? So you need to meet people needs, because then that needs that necessity, just like a plate of
I
food.
like that. I really like that intake. And honestly, to continue more on that same uniform, it's very realistic, honestly. Like, that was a very realistic example, because, we go to school and, we have fence, but not that high, so you could see, right? But you could observe people from, certain things that are materialistic. You could say that, okay, you might have a little neighbor with a hill here and there, but when you go inside of your house, you could still hear the real part of she, because she never get for do something, or they blame she for this, blame she for that, right? And the youth group, which is a very good example, I must say, like, if you have a youth group, or knowing that you're in a youth group, share the opportunity, because you knowing that, okay, in my area that there was lack of opportunity, there's like, I go in a youth group, and I always say like 1-2 of my neighbors. Why?
Definitely.
Because not everybody know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I step in and be like, hey, if you want, that not by force, but like, if you want, I'd invite you out. We have this, our youth group. These are the kind of things we talk about. These are the kind of things we engage. And you tell them the interesting things, because it
Definitely.
is very interesting in our youth group. Once you say like, you boom, you reach out you group and you see your own friend they say, but you
Mhm.
feel like we say, my friend
Mhm.
can't want even tell me.
Mhm.
That thing we are like, okay,
Mhm.
you get bond with that neighbor, be like,
Definitely.
okay, and then that how you discuss like transportation and you build
And
a bond with the parents.
mhm.
And so you don't know like certain people would have said, oh, then you want to be a friend with my picnic and you lead them astray. But if you
Mhm.
know about the whereabouts of
The
your child
resources.
and you know the kind of child who can interact with your child, knowing that child are like,
Mhm.
you group, I was involved, I was
Mhm.
do this.
Mhm.
You are never say no
Mhm.
to that kind of friendship
Mhm.
because you know that could be the help that you
Mhm.
really, really need at
And
a young age and that inspire your child to be like, mommy, I got on this youth group and they're really nice and they do me, they
definitely.
give me this and I never have to ask nothing and
Mhm.
I feel welcome.
Mhm.
Then that the reflection that you want a young person
The
to have from a
the
youth group because
mhm.
that's a point of a youth group.
The
Go there, you sit
mhm.
there and think you might be the shy out, you just
Mhm.
observe. But
The
then when that person who bring you interact with you and be like, you don't have to be shy, I don't want like that. But
definitely.
they're not the kind of people who interact with you, get you feel like show your true self,
Mhm.
and then you go home, go reflect, be like, I may really like
Mhm.
this youth group and I would
Mhm.
have really like join because
Mhm.
they do this and they help with tutoring and they mentor me and they go on their awesome trips and
Mhm.
they have a lot of
Mhm.
people I get to meet
Mhm.
that same day.
Mhm.
Then they are
It
the thing.
it
Well,
call referral.
yeah.
Referral.
And so with that, the person who invite you feel twice as better because you tell a friend to tell a friend and so when that
Definitely.
friend call you feel good and be like, all right guys, and then if you know that person in that situation and you know that you very help with resourcing things and getting something done for anybody without expecting anything back.
Excellent.
Come on, that's the best group ever, and
Yeah.
that where I refer like agape, which is your parents would have prefer you for the around all girls.
Mhm.
Agape, they were
Mhm.
Christian youth group with wonderful, empowering young ladies who
Mhm.
just amaze me every time we hang
Mhm.
out. And they talk about certain situations where, as a young lady, certain things happen to you, but you don't get fit talk about it because maybe you live with your pa might not understand. Maybe you live with your ma, but your ma close on your ideas.
Mhm.
That a group where you could talk about anything, you could cry, laugh, anything, and you get
Mhm.
comfort. That one thing I love about Agape. You have the AVP here by the library.
Mhm.
Then do tutoring. They have a library where you could come do your homework, read a book. They have story time. I read stories to a bunch of kids I never meet yet, and that was really a blast. And honestly, I really like interacting with younger kids because being that okay. Hi guys, I that person and I come here for do this. And once you show your best and show that you're confident, you don't know who you inspire. You may inspire one young man, one legal, and they will run with that. They're like,
Mhm.
I remember this one time I gone and this lady read me a book and I really like how she read it and I really like forget she would see it she again. And
Mhm.
you do things to the way point you go at the mentality I want to inspire somebody or I want to influence somebody for continue to do the same thing I do and that the whole
You
you
want to
start your
become a role
chain
model.
and yeah. So, my next question, right? Both I would
Mhm.
really love for you to both answer this question, right? So, can you share any stories of people who have overcome poverty?
There's so many stories.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you look at individuals like Viola Davis, the actor. She has a wonderful story of coming out of poverty and raising up to become the actor that she's become.
Mhm.
And when you look at that, I would encourage you to look for her stories. Quite amazing. Look at people of African descent in the entire Caribbean or Europe or UK or the US. These people, their ancestors came to this part of the world in chains.
Mhm.
They didn't carry any wealth with them. They came in chains. But if you look at all generations, you are not in chains. About that, there's something about resilience. If you listen to 1,000 stories of these people,
Mhm.
there's a story of resilience that these people throughout generations have never given up in the face of adversity, regardless of the things they have seen, regardless of the people
Been
they have
true.
lost.
Mhm.
They have never given up. Have they addressed all the challenges? No, but they have just never given up. And there is a powerful story of resilience. There's a powerful story of determination. there is a powerful story of what do I do now to make tomorrow better.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I walk around Belit City, I was not here during the Hurricane Haiti, but I can see the effects of that. But I can still see people living here, and I can see, some of them don't really have good opportunities, but some of them can drive a car. Some of them can use a bus, but and that is all. Those are all stories of resilience. It's not about having everything put together. It's about how you face adversity, how you face difficult times, how you process difficult times, and how you work with determination to say, I'll come out stronger. I'll always come out stronger.
So that like from rags to riches when time was small, you never those have all we need. Your siblings don't never those have all we need. Your mothers never have all we need. And due to that pressure and that poverty where you grow in, you make one oath to yourself that I know I be poor. Or
Mm-hmm.
I know I live in a poverty and I want to alleviate poverty out of my family and I want to uplift my family out of poverty. So the success stories, man, you never may have one need when time was small, but due to that struggle, so it inspire you to make you change your mindset. Change your mindset and make you change your life. Make you never gone to school, but you're going into entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship bring cash flow. Cash flow make you could provide for your siblings, provide for your ma, and then you continue invest. And by continue investing, you become successful. Never gone to school, never gone to school, but you become successful through entrepreneurship because you find one way out. You find one way out of poverty in order to come out. You have to tell yourself you make it, and not only tell yourself that you make it, but work towards it. Know yourself, know where you come from, see yourself, and be yourself. Man, I come out of poverty. I'm living in a poverty, but I see myself as a CEO, as a big businessman who owns so much house, land, etc. And you work towards that. So um speak it into existence.
That's what I'm gonna wait for.
You have to speak it into existence, right?
I agree, but like you mentioned, people tell you, make nothing out of yourself. Oh, Sadano, he don't nobody. He this that the corner, yeah, be like that for the rest of his life. Oscar not going away, he a stay. He going, people said anything, and you sit down there and you take that in, right? And then not observe, be like, then a concentrate emotions, and I be like, how that could affect his mental health? How that could really think his future? Would that bring down his self-esteem? Would he really want to become something in the future? And so, like, when people send anything to you, that the manifestation, but then manifest that into your life, but you that the person who I feel like, all right, Anna, whatever that
Rebuke
lady said are not real. Anna, listen to
Prove
she.
them wrong.
So then you be positive and you manifest the right things what you want. I will become the CEO. I'll become a doctor. I'll become a surgeon. Say the things that, you put it out there. Speak it into existence.
Definitely.
Because they have a lot of people who wake up every day and be like, I still don't know what I want to be. I don't know. I just want to do nothing all day. They not get interested by nothing because you don't want to, because people think a pattern, but honestly, it's your personal decision. If you want to come out of poverty, if you feel like, this is a comfortable lifestyle, and you see how other people live, and they're like, okay, that average, I'll be average. Knowing that inside, you want to go fire, you want to be big and bold, and you want to help everybody else, then you want to say, okay, poverty, that's not my thing. We're going up. We move up by the ladder. We have the days where it rains so hard, we slide off of the ladder, but we are continue climb up because why stop? Dedication, resilience, pushing yourself to not to to the bare limit to, you broke down, you give up.
Mhm.
But pushing yourself to the point like, I got this,
Motivation.
use that mistake, use the past to say, okay, that happened. We are use it as a strength. That was plus one. That was
Mhm.
carry up by power. That was,
Mhm.
that was put it in our head like, okay, we can't find that. And look at me now,
You have to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
Communication is the key, because if you don't communicate, people know where their situation and how they could help.
Mm-hmm.
And then fear keep a lot of people in a poverty, because they fear rejection, they fear if you step out there and they shut down your idea.
Mm-hmm.
You get rejected. So due to fear, it have fear like a prison. And the way how you are take yourself out of a prison so is that that role models, because before we them have people when we live in a poverty we make it.
Mm-hmm.
We're there because when you're small you see people, some people they struggle, and then after a while as years go by they make it. So you say like, yo, I want to be just like he, and he become a role model, one motivation to you in order for uplift poverty. And then while that person they saw that your motivation, you become somebody else's motivation, because somebody else they watch you how you will step your way out of poverty, and then they want to settle for themselves. If you could do it, if Mr. Oscar could do it, and Devani could do it, and Dwayne could do it, I could do it too. So you that were inspiration without you even know. Today, and I feel a lot of young people alleviate poverty. They need to equip themselves with skills. Because skills that are way out of poverty, because you could use your skill in order to make a fortune and to reach there. But if you not equipped and you don't have the skill, you will look bad. So this day and age, I encourage a lot of people to get skills, like vocational skills, hands-on training where could help yourself. Because school and college good too, but school and college like teach you like that entrepreneurship piece. It teach you to go work for people. Teach you that's like that hands-on skill. So I don't want a lot of people go to vocational skill, hands-on skill for alleviate poverty, because if you have a skill, anywhere where you go, you could survive. Because you skill and so if any position, and then the more skill you acquire in our day like this, day and time and age like this, the better for you, because then you could fill more positions, more gaps, more you more certified and you more flexible and like travel.
One of the things that I think is important that you get from being part of a group, a youth group or a support group, is that you have an opportunity to exchange ideas, and that's just so powerful. And one of the things that you help yourself is by saying, what are the problems in my community that I can help solve? And then in the process of solving someone else's problem, it becomes a blessing to you. Now, I have two examples on that. The first one is, if you go to Publix on the
Boulevard?
on the Northern Highway, there's a huge guy. He's a bit limbed, but it's quite huge. And if you go to the supermarket, he helps, and you carry your things on a trolley, he helps lift that trolley back to where it is. And I've watched him for a long time. He started by he's actually doing it for free. He doesn't ask you anything, but when you take your groceries to the car, he comes and picks the trolley for you. And some people give him $5, some people give him $10, some people give him $1. I watched him one day. He had this bundle of money. And to me, that was a story of inspiration. This is a guy who is living with disability. I don't even know his story, but he has somehow figured out that we have a problem. We have a problem in this city People are leaving the supermarket with their trolleys and they are in a hurry and they don't want to pull back the the trolley back and they want to go. And I'm going to help them solve that. And recently I went to Public supermarket and I saw Publix, they have now given him a t-shirt.
Yeah.
He now looks like an employee. And that is just something beautiful to me of how even in all these challenges, people can focus and think about what are the problems in this community and how can I help solve them. Because even he talked about entrepreneurship, and that's a wonderful thing. And entrepreneurship is built on the idea of learning what the problems of the community is and how to solve them and how to monetize that solution.
Definitely.
And so it's just wonderful. A couple of weeks ago, I was looking for a place to check passport pictures, and I drove along the whole Central American Boulevard. There was no single place, and I had even never thought about that. Like I had not even thought about like, but it was a problem to me at that time. I wanted to, I needed pictures very quickly. It's almost 1 in the afternoon, and I drove to the place I always go to, and it was closed. I went down the plaza on Albert Street, and people were so many I could not queue. And I drove along the boulevard just looking for this one place where I could go and take a passport picture very quickly and walk out. And I thought, wow, I wish we had 3 here.
Yeah.
So there are opportunities. We just need to learn to see them. But sometimes it's very difficult to see them. But if you are part of a support group, if you are part of a youth group, if you are part of a network, then sometimes you look at something that you've been seeing for a very long time, you look at it in a different way, and you realize, oh, there's an opportunity here.
Definitely.
So
A lot of people, they in a poverty too because of pride. The young man with the Publix, if he may have pride and if he make he pride hold he down, he never may they earn that. So because of pride, people they in a poverty because they might have one idea or they might cook, but they shame to go up on the street side go sell food. So they in a trap because of pride, the whole night down for come out of poverty.
Much needed, and I like the male perspective because not a lot of people get to let the men be engaged in the conversation. Yes, some people might be okay, they're too dominant, they want to lead the conversation and they say wrong things, but I want to thank you both for giving me the opportunity for asking you these questions and being open with me today. So I want to say thank you again, and with that, thank you until next time. See you guys.
Welcome. Thank you too.